Today we're going to work on Beeber, our 2003 Honda XR50. The last time we did a video about this bike, we had it up at my brother's property. I think it performed like it should. Do you agree?
Sure.
But I noticed when we were over there that the engine makes a noise that I don't think should be there. And in this video, we're going to try to figure out what's making that noise and how to stop it. I've never owned or worked on a Honda 50 before, but before we started filming today, I did some research about how to appear knowledgeable when you're actually incompetent. Thought it was funny.
You'll know it's funny when I laugh.
I have worked on engines similar to this. The CT90 engine and the ATC 125 engine that's in here right now are very similar to the XR50 motor. I'll start this up and you guys can hear what I'm talking about, and maybe some of you who own a machine like this can tell me if this is abnormal or nothing to worry about. The nature of the sound is that it happens only when the engine is idling. It's a rhythmic tapping, and I believe it's louder on the right side of the engine. Ready? Mm-hmm. This is usually a 2-kick machine. It would be a 1-kick machine, but I usually forget to turn the key on until after I've tried it once. Got it that time though. So I'll be quiet, and you guys can just listen.
Is that ticking sound?
Yeah, you picking that up?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
I've heard worse. It doesn't suggest to me that the engine is toasted, but I don't like it. So we'll see what we can do to remedy it. Since it seems to be in this area, first thing I'll do is take off the right side cover and have a look underneath it. To get this off, I need to remove the foot pegs, the kickstarter, and swing the brake pedal down. Alright, I've removed enough stuff that I think we can take off this cover now. I ended up taking that brake pedal completely off.
Good job.
Well, I said I was only going to swing it down.
I remember.
And I want to be accurate.
But you sounded proud of yourself.
It was a big job. If you grab it over there, I'll show the people my reasoning. So it was like this, right in the way of the case cover, but if I swing it down,
Oh.
just in the way another way. So I got rid of it entirely. Not sure if that was worth explaining. I hope I have the machine laid over far enough that when I pull this off, the oil won't spill out.
So you think that's a rod knock? That's kind of what I was thinking might be.
We're not going to use that phrase. Okay? It's a tapping. It may even be a rattling, but it's not a knock. Until proven otherwise. I like Beeber, but I don't think I like him well enough to split the cases and replace the crank.
Oh, I bet you would. You can't handle it when something doesn't run right.
Yeah, look what happened with Old Hard Times. I was gonna sell it, yet there it sits. All the bolts are out. Flesh hammer doesn't break it free. I'll try 1 degree harder. That is a clean inside of a motor.
It's nice to crack a case and not see metal bits at the bottom.
Or coolant. Be pretty difficult for coolant to find its way into this motor though. Because it's air cooled. This is the clutch. This must be the gear that goes into the transmission. And here's the shift shaft that's connected to the lever on the other side, and when you shift gears it automatically makes the clutch go.
Looks like your gasket might have.
That's a bummer. It's separated.
Won't be able to reuse that.
Oh, won't I? Ooh. There's some play between this gear and what must be the gear behind the clutch. Oh, that did break all the way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, there's the rest of it. You just try to reuse that now.
Well, it was fine.
Oh, I ruined it.
That definitely would make a noise with the engine running.
I don't think it should do that. But you're Mr. Mechanic.
Probably my best course of action is to go inside and look at a diagram of how this all goes together and see how the gear behind here is attached.
Does the diagram tell you how much noise it should make?
I wasn't able to find any information on the internet about how this is supposed to function or if the wiggle is normal, which it may be. I'm not very enthusiastic about it, but I'll start taking this apart and see if I notice anything that appears wrong to me. This is an oil filter screen. I wonder what it looks like.
Seems good.
Yeah. I don't think the engine's been abused. These are the type of screws that are easily ruined, so instead of using an old screwdriver, I have a brand new number 2 Phillips tip that I'll use to crack these loose. I did see a document online that suggested after I take off this plate and a nut behind it, the entire clutch assembly can be removed. Can I convince this gasket to stay in one piece? Close. I haven't noticed any obvious signs that someone has opened this up before. This nut takes a special socket to remove, but if it's not extremely tight, I may be able to get it off with a screwdriver and a hammer. Yeah.
I feel like you're going to leave behind obvious signs that someone has been in this engine.
I don't want to be deceptive. That's not bad. Okay, now that the nut is loose, the clutch will slide off the shaft. Now that spins freely. It must grab here. What do you think?
Looks like it.
Yeah. Okay. So the back and forth has something to do with whatever's going on in this clutch. Oh,
That's good for it, I'm sure.
clutch. Whatever's going on in this clutch dictates the movement that we feel. Let's step over to the workbench and try not to drop anything on the way. Okay, since the last clip, I got familiar with this thing so I can explain it to you guys coherently. The gear spins freely in the clockwise direction, but engages the whole assembly when I turn it the other way. It's working the way it's designed to, except for the slop. But I don't know if the slop is supposed to be there. Maybe the clutch discs, which are underneath this metal part, are worn down and have become thinner than they're supposed to, which would create extra space.
Maybe.
So I will take this apart and see if that's the case. One snap ring holds it all together. Here's the first fiber disc. Looks a lot better than Hard Times did.
Oh yeah.
Second disc. And third disc. This bottom piece is just metal, so I don't think that's worn down. Next thing I'll do is clean these off and measure them. All right, I wiped the oil off of these discs. They were really clean. Didn't notice any friction material coming off on the rag. There's two types. This thicker one has friction material on both sides, but these circular ones have friction material on one side and metal surface on the other. These are supposed to be 2.52 to 2.68 millimeters with a minimum thickness of 2.3. Right where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, almost exactly the same. Looking good so far.
You are.
Now for the thick one, 3.44. They're all on the upper end of where they should be.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think this motorcycle does not have a lot of use or abuse. I'm going to assert right now that the clutch functions the way it was designed to, despite the loose gear. Based on two things: the cleanliness of everything we've taken apart so far and condition of these discs. But there's one more test I think we should do that will either strengthen or weaken that conclusion. The Trail 125 doesn't know the danger it's in. These two engines are really similar to one another. One exception being that this one does show evidence of prior service.
Did you do that?
Had to get that screw out. Had to get that screw out. Let's see if this gear has the same back and forth as Beeber. So I think that's solid evidence Beeber's clutch is in good shape. And this video was kind of a waste of time. Except that now we know Beeber's engine has very little run time. Practically a new machine.
Yeah, but it's still making a knocking noise.
Rattle. Anyone who's familiar with Honda 50s, I invite you to let me know if the noise I hear is normal, a sign of trouble, or maybe all in my head. Thanks for watching.